Welcome to the Coeus Collective, where we provide actionable insights to current and aspiring entrepreneurs. I'm co-founder Antonio DeMeglio, and I'm here with
Kenan.
Kenan. We are here to discuss how Kenan had his company acquired by Lyft. His company is Halo Cars. Kenan, tell us about how you started Halo.
I started Halo when I was actually a student in college, so during senior year. And it started off just an idea of, could we modernize out-of-home advertising and traditionally taxi advertising, so ads on top of taxis and inside of taxis. And we were trying to apply sort of technology to that, to the rideshare networks. And our idea was these rideshare drivers are spending all day driving around the most densely populated areas of the city. And then there's hundreds of people that come in their car each week. And it seemed like we could build an ad platform that would make money for the driver, so they could make extra money by showing ads to these people, and then would be a new type of ad network to reach these consumers in interesting ways. And so that was the idea that started the company. We started during college as students, and then it slowly became more and more serious, and we took it full time. And after that,
when did you know to go full time?
We knew, so we were excited about it, and our goal was we wanted to see how far could we take it, and then how much conviction would we get as we started getting more and more traction. So the point in time where we wanted to take it full time was when two things happened. One, we had our first paying customers, and we had a pilot that we were running, and we got advertisers we had customers who wanted to pay us for it. And then the second thing that happened was we were able to, we got an offer from an investment. We were raising. We wanted to see if investors would be interested in doing a pre-seed round, and then we had a few commitments. So that came together, and those two things combined, so we have the funding to do it, and we have market traction from customers that they want this. That's when we decided to go full time.
So you went full time. Yep. You got funded. What did it take between funding and getting acquired to put yourself on track to think even that, hey, one day I could see my company being a part of a larger organization like Lyft?
Well, that process was actually quite quick. We raised around and then we were acquired about 3-4 months after. So in those 3-4 months, we tried to do everything we could to develop the business. We launched, we scaled our number of drivers, we got more customers, and we were trying to build, the fastest growing, largest business that we could. And we weren't really trying to build something that could be sold. We weren't aiming for it. And while in the process of that, Lyft approached us and they said that we were looking into this space. We like what you're doing and we like your team, and why don't you come do it with us? So it was opportunistic. We weren't looking for it. It kind of came to us in the process of building a company. And so I wouldn't say we did anything in particular to set us up for it. I think we tried to build the best business that we could, and we were a little bit fortunate in terms of the timing. And then, the Lyft and other players were looking into this space and they wanted to make a move, and then it worked out in our favor. But we didn't do anything too intentional in that regard.
So in terms of differentiation, because I'm sure you weren't the first player in this industry, do you think you were able to differentiate your company and maybe even the way you were running your company more because you started it as a young person?
I don't think that helped us in any way. If anything, I think it hurt us. I think if we were older, more experienced, I think we could have, especially in the ad tech industry or advertising industry where you have to do a lot of sales, and we would have been much better at sales if we were older and more experienced, and we had a network and we knew how to sell better. I think the thing that was in our favor, though, was that when Lyft was looking at teams, I think they viewed us as, this is a smart, kind of very high slope, fast learning young team that we can mold and they can grow into people here at Lyft. And I think that was a positive thing. But I actually think we were kind of, we had some success in spite of us being young, not because of it. So I don't think that helped us at all.
So would you advocate then for young founders to create their company in a way where it could be easily acquired, or would you try to advocate for...
No.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I would not. Absolutely not. So I think the wrong way to think about building a company is I want to build something that I can sell. Okay. Because by definition, you're not going to be... the goal should be build the best business possible. And if you're saying that I want to build something that I can just sell, then in some ways you're saying I don't want it to be a standalone company, or it can't be a standalone company. What you should be thinking of is, how do I build the best standalone business? This business will operate by itself and will just be a good standalone company. And that's what attracts people. Nobody wants to buy a business that's not that great, but someone's trying to sell it. A lot of people want to buy a great business that nobody wants to sell, but it seems like an interesting asset or an interesting opportunity. So I would think very little about how to sell the company, and I would just focus all of my attention on building a business that somebody might actually want to buy on its merits.
Amazing. And so maybe a bit personal, but how has your day-to-day in terms of running Halo changed since Lyft acquired the company?
A lot of things changed. So when the biggest thing is that you go from running your own startup and you're CEO and you control everything to you are ceding control to, this is run by a large company now. And then when we joined, they brought in another person who was going to be the GM. I became the GM later, but I wasn't the GM originally. So it's you basically get a new boss. Basically, is like the biggest difference, and that exists. That's why they buy your company, because they want control of it, and then they want it to align with their direction. So you have to consider all the different stakeholders. You can't make decisions by yourself. You need to build alignment. All the things that are normal inside of a big company apply to you as your startup. And there's a lot of benefits too. That's not a bad thing. You get all their resources, you get the brand. Like, these are all amazing things, which is why we sold. But as part of that, to get all of that, you need to also sort of play by their rules, and you're in their playground now, and you have to follow that.
Amazing. So, final question: do you have any pieces of general advice for our audience of current and aspiring entrepreneurs?
The general advice is very hard to give. It's a kind of like specific to who you are and what you're doing, and I try not to give any general advice, because not everything applies to everybody. But I would say that if you're an aspiring entrepreneur, I actually don't try to encourage people to start companies anymore. I almost try to discourage people. I think the people that should do it are the ones who really feel compelled and drawn to do it, and they would have done it even if people don't tell them don't do it. I think those are the ones that end up being successful. The people that I think that are on the margin, like, oh, maybe I should start a startup, maybe I shouldn't, and the ones that get pushed into doing it, I find that they're not that committed to it, and they end up not doing it as well. So I try not to push people to do it anymore, actually. It's almost the opposite. I try to tell people it's hard, it's really challenging, do it if you really feel compelled, and if you don't, I don't think it's necessarily the right thing to dip your toes into.
Well, in some ways, that higher activation energy could actually lead to a higher chance of success too. So I think that's, if it takes longer for you to, be able to get to that idea that you really think is going to happen, you're really compelled about, then maybe that idea is going to have a higher chance of success anyway. So I think that's great advice.
Yeah, basically my point being is that the people who want to be founders, they usually don't need to be convinced. They want to be founders, and they don't ask questions like, should I be a founder, should I not be a founder? Those ones do pretty well. The ones who are not sure, and they ask people, and maybe I should, and then they can be convinced into, I find that they're not as committed into it, and they just, from my experience, don't seem to do as well.
Thank you, Kenan. So, final question: where can people keep up with you and your journey?
Best place is on Twitter. You can follow me at Kenan Saleh, or on LinkedIn, just my name. Those are the two best places to follow me and connect with.
All right. Thank you so much.